Hello, friends. Welcome to night three. Night three of Camp Wow, our stamp camp this evening. Tonight is Stargazing Stories. We're going to make a star mini book. It's like an album, a mini book. It's really cute. It's really fun. I'm super excited for this. If you are here and joining me live, drop me a comment. Let me know if you have finished the other two projects from this week or if you're still working on them. If you are watching replay, special welcome to you as well. I'm glad you are here. And I'd love to know if you have made the projects from the first two nights as well. If this is your first time joining me, well, welcome. I am Heidi with Onigo Stamping. I'm going to help you reconnect with your inner artist by using stamps, ink, and paper to make beautiful handmade cards and gifts just like the one we are making tonight. So here is the project for tonight, this little mini album. I made it out for a birthday, so I thought it would make a really great birthday present. And actually, I made one of these for my daughter when she was 8. So now it's like really faded and old, but I put pictures of all, like for each year I put in there. And what happens is you open this up, you have all the different pages, and when you take it and you turn it, it makes a star. Now, I'll show you the other version. Well, not the other version, but I made another one. This one, I didn't put any decoration on the back. This one, I added a square. Now, it's kind of boring. You could do something else. But when you add a little bit of something to the back, that means that you can take these ribbons and you could actually tie them shut. And it's going to hold your album in that star shape if you wanted to like set it up or something. So really fun and cool. So I'm going to show you that. We are using 3 different stamp sets tonight. Sabina, you're enjoying all of the projects. Oh, good. And Carol, you've made both of the projects. That's amazing. Great job. So we're using 3 different stamp sets tonight. We're using the Not 29 Anymore stamp set, which is this hilarious birthday set, which maybe because I might be having a milestone birthday this year, I'm to the age now that I think it's hilarious. Anyway, we're using that one. Oh, let me show you which ones we're using from this. We're going to use the So Many Candles. Let's get this party started. Older but still cool and happy birthday. All right. Then we are using a little bit of the Celebrate Together stamp set. We're just using this little file tab that is down here. Like I have frozen just a little bit. Hopefully I come back. There we go. And then the little stamp that says, what a day. So, and then we're going to use the Impressions Abloom stamp set too. I love this stamp set. I've been using this so much. I mean, look at my stamps. They are very, very pink. And I am realizing that my 2 videos are not very well synced right now. So I'm really hoping that they catch up together because otherwise this whole evening might be a little weird. Anyway, we're going to use this one, those 2 big flowers, the 2 little flowers, all 4 of the centers. That's it. All right. So I already have mine out on all of my blocks. Kimberly, I'm so glad you got home in time to watch. And hello, Joan. Welcome, welcome. Here is tonight's merit badge. It has, I don't know which way this goes. I think maybe this way. It has a moon and stars on it for our stargazing night. So that's our merit badge number 3. And then I, of course, have pulled out the tutorial bundle. This is a big tutorial bundle. This is all the tutorials for all 4 nights. You'll see there's all the different, like, there's all sorts of pictures and stuff in here. This is really good. If you didn't pre-register, you can still get the tutorial from my tutorial store. So I pulled this out so I can try to follow along as well. And we're going to start by doing some cutting. So, and this one, just like Monday night, there's a ton of pieces. But we're going to do all the stamping at once. We're going to cut all the pieces at once, and hopefully it all comes out. All right, so we want the totally cute designer series paper again. And for this one, we're going to pull out some different. We want the polka dots. I love the polka dots. They're so cute. I think, who I use? I think we need the yellow too. No, we don't need the crushed curry. All right, we didn't use that one. We also need the stripey though. So the polka dots and the stripey. I'm going to pull both of those out. And I'm going to start by, I don't know if I didn't like mess up when I was sending this to you. Maybe not. I think it's okay. All right, we're going to start by cutting the polka dots in half. All right, so these are going to be the covers. We need 2 of these. These are 6" by 6". So we're just going to cut this piece in half to make it 6" by 6". And these are for the covers. So we'll set those aside. And then for page 2, we need, or for page 7 and 8, sorry, for page 7 and 8, we need 2 that are 1.5 by 3 inches. So I'm going to cut 3 inches this way. Actually, I'm going to cut 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches this way, and then we should be able to cut it in 2 to get 3 inches. Or 3 inches to get 2 of them. All right. So there we go. We have 2 of those. That is for pages 7 and 8. And then for pages 11 and 12, we need 2 that are 1.5. I'm going to cut at 1.5. And then we need, they need to be 2 3/4. So we'll cut at 2 3/4. And that's all the cutting we need to do. All right. That is all the cutting. So now we are going to do all the stamping. We're going to do all the stamping in one big fell swoop. All right. And then we'll work on die cutting everything. We'll work on sorting everything. We have a whole bunch of stuff here. All right. So I have some different pieces of white. These are pieces that I need. These are pieces that I need. Those are Balmy blue. The pecan pie, this is for die cutting. So I'm going to set that aside. This piece of Darling Duckling, this is for die cutting as well. We'll set that one aside. We should have some cherry cobbler for die cutting. So let me figure out so I can tell you which ones are what we need. All right, so 2 3/8 and 1 3/8, 2 5/8, 4 5/8 by 2 3/8. Not this one, not this one, not that one, not this one. Let's see, this one I think is 4 5/8 by 2 3/8. No, it is 3 7/8. Maybe this is our one for die cutting. This is when it's good to have a ruler out. So this is 4 5/8. All right, so this is 4 5/8 by 2 3/8. This one we need. So you have a long one. We're going to set that aside. We have some square ones. Those are all getting set aside. And then this little cherry cobbler one, that one's getting set aside. But the other cherry cobbler is for die cutting. All right, so I'm going to put that one out. We have our chipboard, and then the rest of these pages, these are for pages. We'll set those aside. You should have 2 whites. I only have 1, and I think what I did is that I accidentally put 2 in Monday's project when we only needed 1, and I put 1 in tonight's project when we needed 2. So I just pulled out the 1 left over from Monday. All right, we're going to do some stamping. Hello, Natalie and Donna and Lisa and Rita and Teresa. Y'all are here. I love it. All right, so I have my cheat sheet. Look, see, it's in here. I have a cheat sheet. I'm going to start with, oh, you know what? I missed a stamp. We need the arrow. This step too. So this celebrate together. We also need the arrow from this. And we need these polka dots. What was I thinking? Okay, let me get out a couple more blocks from my block stash. I love having tons of blocks. If you do not have tons of blocks, because I used to not have tons of blocks, but if you don't have a ton of blocks, I highly recommend like just either adding them as you go bit by bit, or there's free shipping happening right now. So it would be a great time to buy a bunch of blocks if you just don't have them, because it makes such a difference. All right, I have my Darling Duckling ink. I am going to stamp this file in Darling Duckling. I'm going to stamp this arrow in Darling Duckling. I am going to stamp one small flower in Darling Duckling, and I need to get out some scrap paper. Got my scrap paper. Which block do I use the most? Of course, I use the D block the most. This is just like your generic size. And then after that, you know, I don't know, I use them all pretty even because it's really nice having kind of just the right size. It is kind of sad that they no longer have the teeny tiny blocks because these are really good for small stamps. All right, so I'm going to do the small flower and I'm going to stamp off and then stamp on my cardstock. And then for the detail, I'm just going to stamp. I probably should have done the detail first, but that was pretty good. All right. So that's all we're doing with the Darling Duckling. We can send the Darling Duckling away. Bye-bye. Well, actually, we need to stamp on something later, so we're not that too far away. All right. Then I'm going to clean my stamps because we need to use them again. So we'll clean them off. And now let's work on some Balmy glue. Right? So I'm pulling out my Balmy glue. I'm going to stamp 3 small flowers in Balmy glue. So I'm stamping the detail first, which is really the better way to do it. 3 small flowers, and then we will stamp the inside. And again, I'm just going to stamp off on some scrap paper. And stamp on. And these are photopolymers, so you can see through them to make it a little bit easier to do the 2-step stamping. It's always best when you're doing 2-step stamping to really try to get your head like directly over the stamps. It really does help. All right, so I did those. We also need an arrow in Balmy glue. So we'll do an arrow. We need the So Many candle stamp. All right, so many candles. All right, I'm going to put this on my other piece. This is why we have 2 pieces. All right, so many candles. That one. Ooh, I didn't do a terribly good job. Let's try it again. One end was just a little light. A little better. All right. Let me see. So that's all the Balmy glue we need. So we can set the Balmy glue aside and let's pull out our cherry cobbler. I do need to clean off some stamps again. Just clean these on my chamois. My chamois is looking pretty getting dirty, but I actually just started the chamois not too long ago. They just get dirty quick. It's all good. All right, so I'm going to take and do another arrow in cherry cobbler. So pretty. I'm going to stamp. Let me see. What a Day. We're going to stamp What a Day on the File tab. You could, of course, change this to something else. I'm doing What a Day. I'm going to do Still Cool, and I want the arrow pointing to the left. Hello, Monica in Arkansas. So that's going on my Darling Duckling. All right. We need a happy birthday. Let's get that over here. Ooh, it's so pretty. All right, so there's our cherry cobbler. And then we need 3 large flowers. And I think I'm going to have to put these on 2 different pieces. That's all right. So again, I'm stamping the detail full strength. We need 3 of these. So I'm going to stamp these full strength. And then I'm going to stamp off for the insides. Off for that one. We'll do the next one. Set that aside. And, oops, I almost forgot to stamp off. It went very dark. That one, there we go. And then we need to do the center. So I'm going to get out which stamp set are the arrows from. They are from the Celebrate Together. So that's the stamp in the Celebrate Together stamp set, as well as the file folder and the dots and the what a day. All right, so I'm going to pull out my pecan pie. We're going to stamp the centers to all of these. Now, just like the flowers, I'm going to stamp the detail full strength with pecan pie. And then I'm going to stamp the old inside-y one off on my scrap paper. Just so they're two different shades. And we need to do the small ones as well. So I'm going to get the teeny tiny ones. Stamp those. And these have a detail stamp and a inside stamp. Go. And we'll stamp the inside. I gotta wash my stamps because they're not sticky. I told you I've used these stamps so much. I love this stuff. Go. Just like that. All right. Let me look. I think we stamped everything. Oh, we forgot the older butt. Gotta go back to the cherry cobbler. We have to stamp older butt. And then we're going to have to use some stamping on some of the pages too. But we're going to start with this. So I'm going to stamp older butt right there. There we go. All right. Set those aside for just a minute. Like I said, we are going to have to use some stamping on some of the other pieces in just a minute. But let's work on just getting these all cut out. And I forgot to get my dies out, so I have to look for my dies. These are the Impressions Abloom dies. So I'm flipping through my dies here. There we go. I found them. You like the color combination? Me too. It's kind of different. Like, I don't use Balmy glue or cherry cobbler very often at all. All right, we're going to pull out the big flower and the little flower. So we're going to have to cut the big flower and the little flower, and then the 2 pieces for the big center and the 2 pieces for the small center. So we're going to load up. We're going to load up our cut and emboss machine as much as we can, because we are going to have to run this through a few times. So, all right. I'm going to start with this one. So I'm going to pull in my piece of cherry cobbler, and we're going to cut a large flower from this. So for this, I want to use both the outside and the inside piece. And then the Darling Duckling will cut a small flower. And again, using both the outside and the inside piece. And then pecan pie, we need big center and a little bitty center. We'll start by cutting those. All right, so we'll run the machine like this. The 2-step flowers are pretty cool. Yes, they are. All right, I'm going to run this through. Very carefully moving over to my die cut machine. Oh. So we're done with the cherry cobbler. Get rid of that piece. We just needed one of those. All right. We need to cut another darling duckling flower. So I'll put this one aside, and we need to cut another one of these. And we also need another small center. So we don't need another big center. I'm actually going to put the big center away. So we don't need any of that. And I don't want to lose it. So we'll set the big center aside. We do need to make another small center. So I'm going to cut again. Cut out a small center from the pecan pie. We're going to cut another darling duckling flower. And then, let's see, let's grab this one. So I'm going to cut out this flower. So get all these flowers cut out. This one I'm going to put a sticky note on to hold it in place. I have a sticky note. I need to buy sticky notes. I'm like running out of sticky notes, which is crazy because usually like I see those big giant like here's 50 packs of sticky notes. And I don't know, they're so pretty. Like in the package, you're like, oh my gosh, look at those sticky notes. They're so pretty. And I buy them all. And then I'm like, what am I doing with all these sticky notes? Raise your hand if you have a sticky note problem like I do. So I'm kind of surprised that I'm running out of sticky notes. It's not something that normally happens. All right, here's our little flower. I'm going to put the centers to the flowers away because we don't need those. And actually this little, the little mini center, I don't need that either. So I'm definitely going to put that away because it is neat, tiny, especially the center to it. All right. So there we go. We have that flower. We have the center. We have two darling ducklings. We're done cutting the solid colors. So now we just have to cut out what we stamped. So I'm going to pull in my other piece. And this is going to take, we're going to have to run this through at least 4 times because we have 4 little flowers. So just spin that die around until you find where it fits correctly. I'm going to put my big flower on and we'll cut this out. 4 more trips through the die, the cut and emboss machine. Here's the top. There we go. We got some little flowers and a big flower. To the next little flower. So this is going to take us a bunch of time here at the beginning to do all this cutting, but then we're going to have all the pieces ready to go. So it'll make it easier once we get done with all this part. Run this through again. And we are going to have to do some fussy cutting, but it's pretty easy. So hopefully you don't get too mad at me. There's my darling duckling flower. There's my big flower. I'm all done with big flowers, so I'm going to put my big die away. We need to do our other two. This is not, oh, it got turned. It's like, why isn't this fitting? I thought I took it straight off and straight back on. No, it got turned. All right. It's too bad Stampin' Up! Doesn't have an order missing dies only option. You've thrown away a few. Oh my gosh, that I'm so sorry to hear that, Kim. I know it would be hard for them to do. Um, my mom actually threw away a die, and she got my brother to come over um, with his metal detector because she realized before, like she realized when she was cleaning up that it was missing and she couldn't find it. So she had my brother come, she like didn't touch anything, right? After I mean, she looked, but then she like didn't empty the trash or anything. She had my brother come over with his metal detector and he found it in the trash for her. um, so if you know someone with a metal detector, it can be helpful. I really try with my dies either to put them in a little container on my desk or to put them back right away, but then I don't, and they pile up on my desk. I'm not a very organized stamper. All right, that's all the die cutting. So I'm gonna put my dies away because we are done with the die cutting. Pop those aside. Now we're gonna do some cutting. So these I'm just gonna cut with a scissor. Just gonna use my snips. Did y'all see we don't have paper snips anymore, which is like the saddest thing. Like the manufacturer stopped making them and they're gone. They're poof gone. So sad. So if you're looking for paper snips, no more. All right. So I'm just going to cut out these straight things with my scissors. This is what I mean, the fussy cutting is pretty easy. So, all right, there's my red arrow. And we'll cut out the blue arrow. I'm just leaving a little border. Just a straight cut. With the points. And then I'm going to cut out this little file tab. Kimberly, you're sad they're gone. I know. It is so sad because they're so great. So if you are in dire need for snips, though, you should let me know because I think I have at least one bonus pair. All right, one pair that I haven't opened yet. So now I'm going to cut out this arrow and this whole sheet will be done. We just got to cut the words on the other sheet. We're zipping along. I know it doesn't feel like it. We're doing good. We're doing good here. You've gotten a magnetic wand. Oh, nice. Good. All right, so now we need to cut out these. You can use your paper trimmer. You can use scissors. I'm gonna pull out a little tool I have here. This is this little mini guillotine cutter. It's not available, just to let you know. It was a special a few years ago. It was a joint special that they had. And it was the only way you could get it. Either demonstrators could get it for 1 month, and then you could only get it if you joined. So, which is too bad because it's super helpful. Although I should have gotten closer on that cut right there. It's just really nice for making these little tiny straight cuts. Shoot. There's that one. And we'll come in on our happy birthday. And I'm not like, I didn't stamp these all terribly straight necessarily. So I am going to clean up some edges. I'm going to straighten stuff up as I go. And last Last little cut here. Not too shabby. All right, I'm going to put my little mini guillotine cutter away. And I'm going to trim these up. These all get cut apart. But I think, you know what, I'm going to leave them together for the time being, so that we don't lose their other halves. We'll cut them apart when we're ready to put them on the page. But for this book, we're actually going to build the pages first and then build the album. So we're going to start by building our pages. There we go. So now I need to bring back in my scrap paper because we need to do some more stamping. We're going to start with pages 1 and 2. And we want to grab from our stack, we want to grab the basic white that is a square. All right, so there's a square one, and that's the one we are going to stamp. Oh, and I forgot, we do need the free cake stamp. See, I used so many stamps tonight. All right, so we need the free cake stamp. You get out the free cake stamp. Oh, I got it out. Did I get that out? No, I didn't get it out. Get it out. Getting out the free cake stamp and a clear block for it. And we're going to stamp the free cake with cherry cobbler. Just kind of at the top. This is a square, so. And then I also want to stamp a flower over here in cherry cobbler. So we'll do the outside. And then I'll do the inside. Stamping off all of these flowers. Every time we stamp a flower, we are going to stamp off for the inside. So, all right, now I need to bring back in my darling duckling. And I'm going to stamp 2 little yellow flowers. One I'm going to stamp up here. And one I'm going to do down here. Did I do this upside down? No. What did I do? All right, I put my stamps on the blocks so I know like which way, so that they're going the same direction. And then I accidentally turned my hand while I was stamping them. And now I don't remember like which way I did it. There we go. That is a trick though. When you're doing the 2-step stamping, if you can try to put the stamps going the same direction, like figure out which way they both are, and put them on the clear blocks the same, so they're like the same way, it does make it a little bit easier when you're stamping. All right. We'll add our centers. Go. And the insides of the centers. Oops. Don't forget to stamp off. All right, so there's our piece. While I have my stamps out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp for the next page too. So I'm just going to set that aside so I can see it right now. So I'm going to pull out this piece. Let me see. One of these. No, the big one's for the cover. We're going to use the small one. Have to make sure I tell you the right one. If you were at my card class last night, you know I made a whole bunch of mistakes. So I'm trying really hard not to make mistakes again tonight. So I have the cherry cobbler. I'm inking up the stamp that says, "Let's get this party started," so I can be home by 9 p.m. Right? Tell ya, I'm getting old. All right, we'll smush all these aside. Let's build some pages. So to build our pages, we want to use, we're going to use the Darling Duckling pages. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. We're not using the Darling Duckling. We're using the crushed curry. So these are the smallest ones that have a score line in them. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to start. This piece is just going to go on the right side. Actually, no, I like this. So I'm just going to use some green glue and put this right on the right side. All right. So that is page 1, 2. Set that aside. We're going to do page 2, 3. For page 2, 3, we need this Let's Get the Party Started. And this has a layer. So you should have a cherry cobbler piece that it fits very nicely on. And we're going to put those together. So I'm going to glue those first. And it just goes right on here. Just like this. And now when I glue this, I want to slide a flower underneath here. And I like to put the flowers on after the sentiment is on. So I'm actually just going to not put glue in this corner. All right. I'm just going to put glue on the other sides. And that way I can slide a flower in there and it will stay on just fine. So this goes down here on the left side of your page. And my white totally slid. Let's get that back in spot. And then we're going to put a red flower. Okay, so this is going to slide in here. Just like that. Or, oh, I like it. Well, I can't decide, like, how do I want to put these flowers? So I'm going to slide it in here, though. Let's put some adhesive on it. Now, I did not use any Stampin' Dimensionals inside here because the book is already going to get kind of fat, kind of lumpy to begin with. And so I didn't want to add any more bulk to it. All right, that goes there. And then we need another piece of cherry cobbler. And I think we need the piece that is, let me tell you the right one, page 3 cherry cobbler, 2 3/8 by 1 3/8. Right? No. Page 4. 2 5/8 by 2 5/8, which is this bigger one, I think. So it's the bigger square. This is going to fit a 2.5 by 2.5 inch photo, or you can stamp other things too if you want. I kind of made this for photos, but it's up to you. This is 2 7/8. I wonder if I cut this wrong, or if I wrote it wrong in the directions. Or if I just read it wrong just now, but it works. It's supposed to be 2 5/8. What did I do? That's 2.5. All right, we're going to cut this down. I think I cut these wrong. I apologize. No, we can't get through. We can't get through with everything being right. We're going to cut this down to 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. There's one side and there's the other side. And I might as well do it with the other one too, because it has to be 2 5/8 by 2 5/8 as well. All right. So now this goes on the right side. And like I said, this will fit a 2.5 by 2.5 inch photo, if that's what you want to do, or you can put other stamped images on it. You could add white and just write messages on all of these little squares, whatever you want to do. All right, so there's page 2 and 3. Set those aside. We're going to move on to page 3 and 4. We're going to move on to page 5 and 6. For page 5 and 6, we're going to do just a little bit of stamping. So let me pull back in some scrap paper. I've lost my scrap paper. There it is. We're going to grab our Darling Duckling ink, right? And we're going to stamp some polka dots on the side. And the polka dots are from the Celebrate Together stamp set. So we're just stamping these with Darling Duckling on crushed curry, so they are tone on tone. And I'm just going to stamp two rows on the edge. on both sides. Just kind of give it a little something. Each page has a little something different. Just like that. I just added some little dots on the sides. You can see that better. Just like that. All right. Now, this one's a little bit odd because what I tell you to do is that you're going to take a piece of cherry cobbler here, and it is this big long one. All right. What I would suggest doing is getting a photo and putting it on here first. Okay. And then cutting it in half. But we're going to go ahead and cut it in half. All right. So this piece is 4. Let's see. It is 4 5/8. So we're going to cut it in half. We're going to cut it at 2 5/16. So that is one teeny tiny tick mark after the 1/4 inch. Okay, one teeny tiny tick mark after the 1/4 inch, and you're just going to cut it in half. Now, if you had a photo on there, you could cut it in half, or you could cut it like not quite in half if you needed to get it in between two people. Because what you're going to do is you're just going to line that up on either side of the folds. And I'm going to leave just a teeny tiny gap so you can fold it there. But I like it when you have like that picture that goes across, right? I didn't print any pictures, so I don't have any. So, all right. There we go. Put this over here. And just leaving a little tiny gap. This one on this side. I don't want to get the glue too close to the edge because, again, I'm going to slide the little file tab under the side here. So, oh, I just stuck my finger in glue. It's a good way to be doing things tonight. Let's see. Wipe off the glue where it gets super sticky. There we go. So then we want to find the file tab that we stamped that says "What a Day," and this is going to slide in on the right side. So bring this in, and I'm going to put it a little bit more towards the top because we are going to put a flower on here as well. Now, when I put the flower on, it's going to overlap the cherry cobbler. So if you were doing this and you had already, put your photo on there, you wouldn't have to worry about this. But what I'm going to do, because this is going to overlap the cherry cobbler, again, I'm going to make sure that I don't put adhesive there, so you can just slide your photo in. So I know I laid this on here. I want to put adhesive over on this side, carefully flipping it over so I remember where I'm putting my adhesive. And that way I can slide my photo in there easily. Later, when I finish this off, when I decide who it's going to. There we go. So there is pages 4 and 5. We're going to move on to pages 6, 7, and 8. I'm sorry, that was 5 and 6. Pages 7 and 8. They get the larger of the stripes. So we have the stripey, and there's 4 pieces, and 2 match each other. We want the 2 longer pieces, and they're going to go on the outside edges. So we're just going to adhere down these on the outside edges. If you're joining us late, we are on pages 7 and 8 out of 12, I believe. And then we get to start putting our album together. So all right. So we have these 2 on the outside edges. Now we should have a square of Balmy blue. So let me find my Balmy blue pieces. I have 2 squares. They are, of course, not the same size. So let me see. We want the Balmy blue. This is for page 7. I want the Balmy blue that's 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. All right, so I think that's going to be this one, but let's see. Let's pull it out. I think it's the smaller one, 2¼ by 2¼ Nope, it must be the bigger one. Yes, so the larger of your two Balmy glue squares is the one you are going to adhere over here, okay? And again, this will fit a 2x2 photo. So you put another small photo on here. And it tells you in the instructions what size photos fit on all of these pages. So you do have that info as well when you can't remember later. Now, in this side, we're going to put so many candles. And I'm going to cut this apart. Teresa, you're loving this. I'm so glad. So I'm just going to snip these apart now that I'm to this page. And I'm going to stack them so that they are right justified. So I'm going to start with the bottom one that says candles. Just a little. So this would be great, like if you had a picture of, you know, somebody's, say, 50th birthday, with all the candles. This would be fabulous. You could add it in there. This would be a great little memory album. All right, here's our next one. And we'll put the "so" at the top. So I just like to make these little stacks. I think it's fun. I think the stacks are fun. Let me move my scrap paper out of the way so you can see it. So there we go. There's pages, let me see, 7 and 8. So I'll add those to my stack. And we're going to do page 9 and 10. 2 more pages to go. Page 9 and 10. And this one, we're going to put a cherry cobbler square. And let me figure out which cherry cobbler square we need. So for page 10, we need the 2 5/8. So that's this bigger one. Okay. The 2 5/8 by 2 5/8 is going to go on the right side. So that's the larger of your cherry cobblers that you have right now. That just goes on the right. And then we're going to add some flowers over here. And I'm going to let this hang off the edge just a little bit. Just make sure you don't put any adhesive there. But it can just hang just a little bit. So that flower probably should have gone the other direction, but whatever. All right, and then I'm going to add blue ones to the bottom here. And again, this blue one, I'm going to let it hang just a little bit off the edge. We'll add this blue one. So we're making kind of like a visual triangle with the flowers. Because if you have never heard this before, our eyes like triangles. So, all right. And this, we're going to cut apart the older butt. And we're going to do a little stack of these two. So I'm going to start with the butt. And put that on the bottom. I like to start at the bottom so I know, like if something's at the bottom, that way I know how far it is from the edges. If it were at the top, I'd start at the top, if that makes sense. So, all right, there's our butt, and then we'll add the older. Nice little stack of those. All right, so that is pages 9 and 10, and now we just have to do pages 11 and 12. So I'll set these in my stack. We're going to build our album. So pages 11 and 12, we need to grab the other two stripy pieces. This is the Turtley Cute. I love the backs of this Turtley Cute paper. It is totally me. I love like bright graphic designs on my pattern paper. These are going to go at the bottom on the left side and the top on the right side. And they do have kind of a border on the side, so they don't go all the way to the sides or the top. really low space. Okay. So just like that. And then this is like finding all our leftover pieces. So we have our piece of cherry cobbler. We have a piece of balmy blue that's going to go in the center of our cherry cobbler, and we're going to glue these together. And then again, here's another spot where you could put a picture, you could write messages, whatever you want on there. So that goes in here. Those all squared up. And we're going to add a bunch of decoration to the other side. So, go. So now I'm going to add my arrows, and I kind of want to just lay these in place and see. I want the balmy blue one to go over the like edge of the pattern paper. So I think I'll glue that one first, and then I'm going to add the other two. So I'll add the balmy blue. I'm adding leaving a little bit of a space on the right there. Okay, so let's see if you can see that. So we got a little bit, we got paper on the right, but it's going kind of over the center of that paper. And then I'm going to add the Still Cool below it. And we're going to line them up, hopefully, in a nice line. We'll see how we do. And we'll put the cherry cobbler one on top. So there we go. Just like that. And then we're going to add some flowers. So I'm going to add a big cherry cobbler flower up here at the top. And again, it can hang off the edges just a little bit. It will be just fine. There's that. And then I'm going to add a balmy blue one next to it. And I'm going to try to like slide the edge under just a little bit. Just so it doesn't cover up the Still Cool. We can't cover that part. Too important. So there we go. Those are all of our pages. All right, we have finished the pages. Now we can start building the book. So I'm going to put these all, I have these all in a stack. They are in order. So I make sure that I put them together in order. Most of the time it doesn't really matter, except that I do like to have, older but still cool in the right order. So I have them in the same order. So we are going to move on. We are going to start. I'm going to like clean out my stamps. Everyone can like catch up, finish your pages. I'm going to clean out my stamps and push them aside because we're not going to do any more stamping. We've done all of our stamping for this evening. Now we're just building. We're like Bob the Builder over here. And I know I will drop something in these wet stamps. I'm surprised I have not already. Because that's what I do. And then you get that ink on the side. Oh, so frustrating. So we're gonna clean up just a little bit. Give myself some more room too, because my stamps are starting to like encroach upon my work area. I know you can't really see it, but I promise they're starting to come for me. I don't know about you, but I usually I start out with this giant workspace, and then as I go, it gets like smaller and smaller and smaller. Everything just keeps coming inward until I'm like working in this teeny tiny spot at the end. I'm like, what am I doing? I need to clean. All right. Here's all my stamps. Clean those up. Let's build. I'm gonna put my ink pads away too. Get some stuff out of the way here. If you're not, where you can put stuff away, just shovel it on the floor. You can clean it up later. So I'm going to grab my chipboard pieces and those pieces, the 6x6 pieces that we cut earlier. Oh, we have to cover up the little turtles. It's okay. So we're just going to adhere this to the center. We're going to do this for both of them. So I'm just using some green glue. I'm going to adhere this right to the center, as centered as I can get it. It really doesn't matter, but I like to get it centered. So set that aside. We're going to do the same thing over here on this one, because they're the same. The front and the back are the same. And then we're going to cut our corners. So just to make this a little bit easier, I'm just going to cut the corners. I'm going to try to cut them close, but not all the way, not quite all the way to the corner, if you can see that. Go. You could do this in your paper trimmer if you wanted to. I'm just using scissors tonight. Okay, here's one side. Let's do the other four corners. Cutting off some of the extra. There we go. All right. So now I've cut those four corners. I'm going to take my bone folder, if I can find it, and I'm just going to run it along the edges. This is kind of the same thing we did on Sunday night, okay, with our other album. I just find it helps it like fold a little bit. So I'm just going to run this across the edges, and then we'll fold these in. Good squish down. Try to get them all the way like snug up there. And I like to just, do it dry first, and then we'll add adhesive to it afterwards. So just folding all four of those sides in and trying to get all the way right snug up next to our chipboard. All right, so now we can glue. And again, I like to just put the glue in the groove. If you want to, you can put a little bit over there, but I wouldn't go crazy because I don't want to get it out the sheet. And we're gonna add stuff to the inside of this that's gonna cover up these edges. All right, so I'm just gonna fold these in, fold them down, these in. And there is our first either front or back. All right. So we're going to do the same thing on the other one. Just giving this a good squish. So there's one front or back. So now I'm going to pull in the other one. We're going to do the same thing. Just putting a little crease in here with my bone folder. And then we'll fold it dry. And I do like to squish it down with my bone folder. Pulling that as close to all the way close up next to that chipboard. Just so we get a nice clean look to our album. All right, and then I'm going to add green glue in the creases again. Okay, I'll come out just a little bit. And we'll fold. I like to fold two sides and then the two sides. I'll see like I got too much. You can see it's gushing out. That's what I was trying to avoid. Fold this one over on it. All right, and then this one. And it doesn't matter that it's not perfect on these corners. It's fine. because like I said, we're going to cover this up. Ooh, adhesive, too much adhesive. Should have just stuck with just in the grooves. All right. So there is our other front or back. So now we are going to fold each of our cherry cobblers. Okay. So we need to find our cherry cobbler pages. They all have score lines in them. And I'm just going to fold them all in half and squish them with my bone folder. All right, and there should be 6 of these, I believe, or 5. 5 of these, 5 of them. I hope I did that right. I'm missing one. I think there are supposed to be 6. I'm supposed to have 6. I hope everyone isn't missing one. Hopefully it's just me. I'm going to cut another one. I have a feeling I just somehow counted wrong on mine. So I'm going to cut another one. Hopefully I can do that. So these are 8 by 4 inches, scored at 4 inches. I'll just put out another piece. 8 by 4 inches. 4 inches, and I'm just going to cut a half off because okay, it's really nice that there is the arm that comes out. I don't like pulling it out. It doesn't fit on my table very well, so I'm just going to cut off half. All right. Score this one. There we go. All right, so here's my 6th one. I hope you all have 6. Unlike me, I hope it was just counting wrong on one of them. There was a lot of counting. There was a lot of pieces in this one. All right, so we have the 6. Now we're going to start adhering these. So I'm going to take one of my covers. I'm going to set it in front of me, and I am going to adhere my first cherry cobbler. Okay, so I'm just putting adhesive on one side. I'm going to take this, center it in the middle of my chipboard cover, and just hold it down for a second. Okay, so that's the first one. And then, and you can see it opens up on the left side. The the crease is over here on the right. It's important that you make sure they're all going the same direction. So I'm going to add some more adhesive, and then I'm going to take my next piece and just put it on top, and just try to line these up as best you can, one to the next. Okay. We'll hold that for a second, kind of let it gel into place. Take a LaCroix sip and add the next one. Again, making sure that you get the fold all on the right side. Stack them up as best you can. We'll add the next one. Put this one on. Getting it all lined up. And again, the fold's on the right. I'm just going to keep saying that. Our fold's on the right. There we go. And when go. All right, so that's my second to last one. I'm going to put my last one on. Just to make sure I counted right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. My fold is still on the right. And I'm going to put the last one on. Just like that. So that goes on the top or bottom. This is actually the bottom, but whatever. Okay, so trying to get it all nice and lined up. And now we're going to put the other cover on. So I'm just going to add some adhesive. And I'm going to put my other polka dotty cover on. So it's just going to go right on here, just like this. And I'm going to just take this and kind of, try to get it so those two covers are square. All right. And that's like the base of your book. So we got the base of our book going on, but there's more to do. Okay. So there's our book. Not going to be too rough with it yet. So now we want to take our Darling Duckling pieces, which hopefully you have 6 of as well. And we're going to fold all these in half. Okay. So I'm going to fold these in half, and I'm going to do the crushed curry ones too. I'm just going to fold everything. So fold, fold, fold. These all get folded in half. So, And then I'm going to fold all my pages in half too. Just because we'll get everything done. We'll get all the folding done. So all the crushed curry pages, I'm now going to fold these in half. And I want the pictures, the decoration we did, those are going to be on the inside. Okay. So I'm gonna put these in a stack right here. That's page 1. I'm gonna put that in a stack next to me. So that's page 1, 2. Here's pages 3, 4. I'm just stacking them up, keeping them in order. Page 5, 6. Page 7, 8. And again, if they get out of order, it's not that bad. And then page 9, 10. And 11, 12. Okay, so we have all of our pages all folded. Now, what we're going to do is we need to pull out our tear and tape. So I'm going to grab my tear and tape, which if you got the kit, you all got some tear and tape in there. And what I want to do is I want to put tear and tape on the outside edges. Okay, so on these outside edges, I'm going to put tear and tape on all of these. So all the crushed curry ones, all the Darling Duckling ones, they're all going to get tear and tape. And I'm starting with a crushed curry, so they were all going, like I had the last pages on top, and now I'm just going to go the other direction. So I started with page 11, 12, and now I'm doing pages 9, 10. Just so that I keep them in order, right? And you want to just get, kind of towards the outside. You don't want to cover this whole thing in adhesive because it will not work. Your star album will not open properly if you do that. So, right. This is kind of repetitive. We have a lot of pages. So, whew, and it's going to be a long night. I thought this would go faster than Sunday, but I'm thinking maybe this is going to take us longer than Sunday. There's more die cutting. All right. So this is the end of my crushed curry ones, and then I'm going to do the same thing to all of the Darling Duckling ones. All right, so I have those. We'll set those aside. And I'm going to do the Darling Duckling ones. These don't have an order because there's nothing on them. But the same thing. I'm just putting this towards the outside edge. The folds over here. I'm just going to add these to each one. Have y'all taken advantage of today's free shipping? Free shipping goes on until Friday. All you have to do is place at least a $75 order and you get free shipping, which is amazing. That's like saving 11%, which I know isn't like a ton, but I'm going to save every little bit I can. So you got to tell me if you have taken advantage of the free shipping, if you have what you purchased for free shipping. I have not yet placed my order. I'm planning to get the party party banner, party dies bundle. You know, the giant alphabet with the banners. That's what I'm going to get. Lisa, you got yours. Awesome. So, and don't forget, if you did the virtual album retreat last week, which I have my album, but I was on vacation last week. So I'm hoping to really sit down in August and do mine, because I've seen everyone's work and it's so cool looking. But they made a little like goof up on what they sent you. And so they emailed everyone a coupon, and you can use that coupon during these free shipping days too. So Sabina, you ordered, and Lisa and Teresa, you ordered papers. That's smart. Smart, smart, smart. All right. I have all of those on there. Whew, that was a lot. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our book, we're going to take our album, we're going to start at the beginning. I'm going to peel off my adhesive tape. You can't wait to see what I do with those dies. I know, I want them. 2-tone cardstock and ink pads for your daughter. Oh my goodness, Lisa. That's awesome. All right, so I'm just going to center that in there. I'm going to peel off the other side, and I'm going to close the book. All right, now you'll notice when you open it, it's going to be like that. Okay, it's not going to open flat. You can't open this all the way. That's the way it works. So I'm going to take page 1. Make sure I have this going this right way. And I'm going to center this in my darling duckling. Peel off the back to that. And then I'm going to close the book. Right? Oh my goodness, you replenished a lot. That's awesome. So there we go. And those aren't going to match either. Okay, so there's page 1. So I'm going to do the same thing on the next one. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. I'm actually going to do the pages like one on top of the other. So I'm going to do my darling duckling. Just like that. And then I'm going to open this, and I'm going to do my next crushed curry page. So I'll peel off this side. And this way it's a little bit easier to get to. There we go. And then we'll peel off this side. Close the darling duckling. All right. Peel off the one on the darling duckling, and then close the book. And we have the second set done. Oh, you're going to give your sister a cut and emboss machine. That is so sweet. That is just amazing of you. What a good sister you are. Hello, Kathy. All right, so I'm going to put the next one in. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to open my darling duckling. I'm going to grab my next crushed curry page. Make sure I got it going the right way. Show you which. Oops. Didn't quite get it far enough over. So it's this one. Okay, the What a Day one. Lisa, you got your daughter one. Oh, that's so sweet. I wish my daughter would craft. All right, I'm going to close. Actually, my daughter does craft. She just doesn't do paper crafts. She does all sorts of amazing knitting and crocheting. All right, next one. Put the next page. There's this. It's the So Many Candles page. Put that one down. Center it up. Peel. Close. Peel. Close. It's very. There we go. All right. Next one. We're almost done. You can see how the book gets thicker and thicker. Open that up. Our next page is the older butt page. Center this over here. The next one, close the darling duckling. Pull off the next backing. And then close the book. And last page. All right, so our last Darling Duckling, and then we just have to do the front. We're killing it. We're crushing it. All right. So we'll center this one. I'm going to take our last Crushed Curry page, and this is the one that says Still Cool. Center that up over here on the left. Peel off the back. Close the Darling Duckling. Peel off the back. Close the album. Poof. All right. Oh, that's so sweet that you FaceTime 2 to 3 times a week to make cards. That's awesome. So there we go. There's our album. So now we just have to like make the front pretty. Isn't that cool? I love this. I love this. This is so much fun. I had made this in years and years. So I made this for my daughter when she was 8. She is now 28. So I had not made one of these in 20 years. Because sometimes these big projects, it gets a little intimidating. Not that it's hard, it's just like, oh, that's going to take me a lot of time. Right? All right. So now I want to cut a piece of white ribbon that's about 28 inches. So I'm just going to guess this. That looks like it's about 12. And another 12, so that's 24. And another 4, that's probably about right. That's probably about right. And then I just want to find the center to this. Just for, because I kind of want to get the center in the center of my book. Oops, it's going to go here. We're just going to take this, put our book in here, and we're going to tie it. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and tie our book shut. When I have something that I tie shut and tie open and shut it, but it's tied, I try to always leave my strings extra long. Okay, because you're going to tie it differently. And so I always like to just make sure that the strings are extra long, so I always know that I have enough string. So do you need 28 inches? Probably not quite, but I like the extra. I like them to be long. I like them long. All right. So there's my bow. And you can, these aren't like perfect. You can cut them up, cut them off a little bit if you want. But I'm putting that on there because we're gonna put some decoration over top of this. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this piece of white. You should have a rectangle of white left, and we're going to add this to the front. Okay, this is going to hold on that ribbon. So I'm going to take this piece of white, and I'm just going to center it in the center of my book. Okay, and we'll set that aside and let it dry for a second. We need to do just a little bit of inking. I guess I put my ink pads away too soon. So you have some little sponge daubers. We're going to pull out some sponge daubers, like 3 of them. Okay. And I want to pull out my Darling Duckling, my cherry cobbler. That's it, just the Darling Duckling and the cherry cobbler. I guess I only need 2. And you have your little die cut pieces, right? So I'm going to take the sponge dauber. Yes, this would be a perfect project for all sorts of occasions. You're very right. So I'm just inking up a little bit of cherry cobbler in my sponge dauber, and I'm just going to sponge it in the center and kind of like go around just like that. You could also do this with a blending brush just to add a little bit of color. I like adding color to die cuts because sometimes I feel like die cuts are too flat. So then I'm going to grab my Timid Tiger, and we're going to do the same thing with the Timid Tiger. Just kind of like softly swirling it around. Oops, that's the back. And just tapping it in the center there. Okay. Just to add a little bit of extra color. So then we can take the pecan pie centers, and we're going to adhere the pecan pie centers to the flowers. So the big one goes on the big flower, and the two small ones go on the two small flowers. Wrong side. They flip themselves over. So rude. I probably should use my take your pick tool for these because they are very small. Very tiny. All right, add this to my little darling duckling flowers. So cute. So, so cute. I'm totally getting adhesive on my fingers. All right. There's all the sticking we need to do on those. So now we can put this together. So we have our book. Can you put photos in the book? Yes, you can put photos in the book. You totally can. You thought today was Friday. I understand. You can totally put photos. And the instructions to this tell you like the right size photos and everything that you can put in there. I made one sample. You can see it has the different size photos that you can put in here. And it tells you all that in the instructions. So you could put photos, you could like sign, you could add little messages, you could stamp more images if you didn't, if you just wanted to make a fun little book for someone. You could put Bible verses in there or, quotes that you really like. So many things you could do. So I should have pulled out the one. Maybe I'll get it for you. I should have pulled out the one that I made for my daughter and showed it to you because I still have it, even though it's very, very old. All right, I'm going to put this red one up here. So we're adding a cherry cobbler, big cherry cobbler up here. And then I'm going to put the other two down here. Again, I'm making a triangle out of these. And I'm just gluing these flat. So there's one. And then I'm going to glue the other one. All right, you guys let me know in the comments if you want me to grab the one I made for my child's 8th birthday off the shelf. Whether you want to see it or whether that's just boring. Who cares? All right, so now I have the little happy birthday. I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to cut happy birthday. So it's better sized. And then we're going to put this, I'm going to put some dimensionals on here. I'm going to use mini dimensionals. It would make a sweet, encouraging gift. It's very, very true. It would. All right. So pull these off. Put the birthday down here. Just like that. Yes, you want to see Molly's book? You got, all right, I'll get it. I know right where it is, so it's just going to take me like 10 seconds to jump up and grab it when I get done with this. I will tell you, I missed one birthday. So I put 8. I put more pages in, so there was enough for each birthday. But I couldn't find the pictures for one of her birthdays. And I was like, I'll come back to this. I never did. So one of the birthdays doesn't have pictures. All right. I'm going to use these little dots. We're going to add yellow ones to this. So if I can find my take your pick tool in the chaos. All right. I'm going to grab a big yellow one. Oh, you know what? I forgot these. I did not put these on dimensional, so I can't pop it underneath. All right. And we'll do a little one. I'll do another little one here. There we go. There's our little birthday album, all finished. Isn't that fun? All right, I'm gonna grab my daughter. So I'm gonna show you. Hold on, I'll be back. 2 seconds. Keep yourselves occupied while I go do this. Talk amongst yourselves. It's really faded, like especially the front. And of course, the stamps and everything are super, super old. So you can hardly see it. Look at that. It totally faded. But it said happy, happy, happy. It has ribbons. They're not tied, of course. And then it opens. Look, we have her 1-year-old birthday. It says 1. That says 1. And then her 2. So I put like the number 2. And then let me see. 3. Her little 3-year-old birthday. Oops. Pages came apart. Her 4 birthday. I should put some new adhesive on that. So her little 4 birthday, where she was making her own cake. 5 birthday didn't exist. Her 6-year-old birthday. And then her 7-year-old birthday. And then it was her 8th birthday, so I didn't have pictures. I just did 8 little candles. It said happy birthday with 8. Isn't that fun? And this was before we even had pattern paper. So this is cardstock. You can see it's just a lot, like the corners aren't nearly as nice. So back in the day. Anyway, so there we go. There is our little star album. So much fun. It just unties. And like I said, if you put another piece, something on the back there, then you can tie it open. So, all right. So we'll take one last look. The free cake. Let's get this party started so I can be behind by 9. What a day. So many candles. Older, but still cool. So super fun. That is tonight's project. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening. Tomorrow night is our last night of camp. Sad. And we're going to be making a really cool box card. I have it here. Oh, I have pieces. I have pieces laying everywhere. We're making a really cool box card. So it looks like this. It pops open. It has flowers. It's going to have there's going to be a lot of die cutting. All right. So if you want to like get ahead, you could do the die cutting. There's gonna be a lot of die cutting tomorrow, but that is tomorrow. So Michelle, you've got to make this. Definitely. It's so fun. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I will see you tomorrow night. Have a fabulous evening. Get some sleep and be ready for tomorrow's party.